Well, the vintages in Paso Robles, people often say this vintage is better than that vintage, whatever. Usually it's the vintage that's coming up is going to be the best one ever. I truly believe that in Paso Robles, with the weather that we have, it's so consistent. It's going to get hot. The grapes are going to get ripe. It's not going to rain. If you do have a freak rain like we did a few years ago, it's not really a big issue because it dries it out right away. I think every year is good. Could be a little different. Sometimes you have a little more of a drawn out season where the grapes hang more. But most important thing we do is we make sure the grapes are ripe when we harvest them. And there are different things you can do to determine when the grapes are ripe. There's a whole process when the vine starts growing, the cane comes out and it's green, and then it starts making the clusters. You have bud break and then the clusters and everything. And everything's green, then all of a sudden the cane starts to turn brown. It lignifies. And so the grapes are getting riper, and then the rachis, or the stem on the grapes, that starts to get brown. It starts to lignify. So you really don't have to bother even tasting the grapes until that rachis is brown. If it's still green, the grapes on that cluster are not ready. So then once it is at that point, you can taste the grapes and you can chew on them and make sure that you have some sweet there and some flavors. You can get, if the grapes aren't ripe, you hardly get any flavors. Once they're ripe, you'll get some flavors, and the seeds will start getting brown. They start out green with a lot of it's really not mucus, but stuff around the seeds. And then as it gets ripe, they just break free, and they're brown, and they're dark brown, and you can chew on them. You get a nutty taste, and then you can harvest. You don't really have to even do any measurements. If they're at that point, you can pick them, and they will be ripe and ready to make good wine.